Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Tuesday, January the 29th, 2019. Good to have you all here for our first of two shows this week. Sorry about that. I wasn't having any sound. Not sure what was going on there, but we do now, so that's good to know. All right, so we have quite a bit to do. So as always, before we get going, let me remind you all of the ways in which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And you can find us on Facebook by searching for us with our show title in the Spotlight 411. And once you find our fan page, make sure that you like it so you can interact with us and know what's going on with the show and stay up to date and all of that important, cool stuff. Okay, so with that being said, yes, we are on late. Sorry about that. Been kind of a busy, interesting, hectic kind of day, but you all know sometimes what I go through. So, but not too bad. We've been worse. So that's that. Now, my co-host Mike will be joining us tonight, and we do have some interesting topics. And as we've been doing over these past number of weeks, we're going to mix it up a little bit, do a little sports, do a little entertainment, do a little wrestling. I'm going to try to focus tonight on the topics that, he can engage us with. Because remember, there's some topics that he's not as engaged with as I am, or even some of you are. So I try to focus on the things that he can contribute with on Tuesdays when we have them, and then Thursdays we do the other stuff. So tonight we're going to do a little. We're going to do a lot of wrestling tonight because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We obviously have to talk about the Royal Rumble from Sunday, Raw from last night, SmackDown from tonight. Lots of stuff going on. The Dean Ambrose stuff, which is huge. We got to talk about that and what it means and what it could mean and all this other stuff. On the sports side of things, we're going to do a little NBA tonight because obviously the big news in sports yesterday was Anthony Davis and what's going on there with him. And what it means for the NBA, because it does suggest, we already knew about this problem, but it really kind of really reinforces it, if you will. What's going on in the NBA is just a major, major issue that I think something needs to change. It really, really does, because otherwise what you see is what you get. It's going to be a continuous. Well, we'll talk about it. And then we got a little bit of entertainment tonight. As I've been mentioning over the past few weeks, we've had a lot of trouble with the TV highlights because I haven't been able to get to as many shows as I would like. And so, we haven't had much of a segment over these last couple of weeks. Well, I'm going to throw that out there tonight in hopes that Mike can contribute to that. At least if I don't have anything, chances are he will. So we'll throw that out there tonight, which leaves us with Thursday being what's left over for the week. Obviously, any other big sports, entertainment, wrestling stuff we have to talk about that we don't talk about tonight, we will throw out there on Thursday, and we'll obviously do our Super Bowl preview. So I decided it was better suited for Thursday because any big storylines or anything that takes place between now and, I mean, if something breaks, like late breaking news or something, we have a better chance at covering it if it's, we do it later in the week. So we'll do the Super Bowl preview on Thursday. And again, any other big sports stuff we have to come, including college basketball, we'll do all that on Thursday as well. And then box office beat will happen on Thursday too. So pretty much anything else from sports, entertainment, wrestling that we have to cover, including the Super Bowl, we'll cover on Thursday. And that will be it. Now, next week, interesting week, big week on our show. We have the Film Awards, and we have, obviously, we'll have to wrap up the NFL season, talk about the Super Bowl and all that. Now, I have a dilemma. What's my dilemma? Well, a lot of you have indicated to me that you like when my co-host Mike does the award shows because it adds something different to the show, which it does. And I won't lie to you, it does. But in order to do that, in order to have him involved, the best way to do that is to move the awards to Tuesday. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is, number one, I doubt very much that our awards committee will be done with the tabulating the votes by Tuesday. Okay, because the ballots are due on Thursday. Remember, that deadline is on Thursday of this week at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you get those ballots in. In fact, I think most of them might be already in. I haven't got a number in mind, but I've been told that most of them are already in. So maybe they will be done. But asking that is a lot. The other deadline for Thursday, folks, just in case you don't remember, for those that are helping to decide the nominees for the live vote awards, those submissions are due on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern as well. So please make sure you get those in too, if you'd like to participate in that. But yeah, generally speaking, it's going to be hard to pull this off on Tuesday. So, it's harder to pull off on Thursday. We're doing 1 week turnaround times. You all saw what happened with the nominations. So, I don't think it's possible to do that. So, I want him involved. So, yeah, I want him involved, but if that means moving the show to Tuesday, I don't think that's possible. I really don't. So, and then there's also the Super Bowl, which takes place on Sunday. And if we do the awards on Tuesday, now this ain't as much of a big deal, but if we do the show on Tuesday, the film awards on Tuesday, then guess what happens? We move our Super Bowl discussion till Thursday. And by that point, everybody's kind of over it. So you don't get the same impact. So why am I bringing this up? Well, for one reason, I want to know what you all think. This ain't going to change the deadlines, okay? The deadlines still be Thursday. I hate to do this because the next week after is Valentine's Day. But if we do it on Tuesday, then we won't be hitting Valentine's Day. So, so the question is, and I'm just going to throw this out there to our great audience. What say you? Give me your opinions. Do you want us to move the film awards off of next Thursday to the following Tuesday so Mike can participate? Because that's the only way we can make that work. Or would you rather us keep it the same and not mess with the schedule as it is? That's, again, I'm just curious for people's feedback. I haven't heard everything and what the options are. Because, again, you guys and girls out there run the show. This is your show. I do what you all, seem to like and what you enjoy and what you want represented on the show. And that's the bottom line. So give me your opinions. What say you? What do you think? Do you think we should push it off from Thursday and then move it to the following Tuesday, or do we keep it as is? So let me know over these next couple days, and I'll make a decision on this Thursday because we're going to move it. I want to let people know. So just let me know. I'll let you all know on Thursday what my decision is, and you can all over the next couple of days kind of give me your feedback. So, all right. And with that being said, I welcome in my co-host Mike, who I'm pretty shocked is even here tonight because of this week and how special it is for him.
Yeah, you're fucking lucky.
I imagine I am. I should go play a lottery ticket, apparently.
You probably should.
Yeah, probably should.
You might actually win something.
That'd be nice. So how is it going, Mike? How is your week going so far?
Well, work was work.
Mm-hmm.
But today was Kingdom Hearts 3 day. And it's a game as I've been waiting for the better part of 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Despite playing every game in between. Literally every game in between. So fuck you people who can't understand the story. I understand where you're coming from, but if you're still complaining about the story at this point, fuck you. They released a series of games. They released a thing everywhere. So like 1.5 and 2.5 the story so far, and they put something on their website stating this is how it got to here. And if you're still complaining about the story at this point, literally fuck yourself.
So how is the game? I imagine you played it.
I have played it a little bit today, and it is wonderful. so far. I've enjoyed every second. It is making me not hate the Hercules world
Oh,
that we've gotten in criminy like almost every game. Almost every game there was a freaking Hercules world. Even the mobile game, there was a Hercules world.
that's kind of interesting.
Well, the first little bit of the games in the Hercules world, and it's admittedly not bad. We're getting that one out of the way first, which is fine.
So it's living up to your expectations,
So
basically.
so far,
So
so
far.
far, I'm very pleased with the game. It looks wonderful. It plays wonderful. It's very intuitive. Um, everything's great so far.
Good, good. Um, it's been a very busy week, obviously. I mean, okay, for you, it's been obviously work and this. Um, but also it's been a very busy week in wrestling, and we've got a lot to talk about there, as I said. But we're going to start with the lone sports story that we're going to be covering tonight, because I want to allow the wrestling stuff to be expanded on, and the NBA thing we can get to pretty quickly. And so we'll start with that. This Anthony Davis thing, which blew up yesterday, which, look, we all saw it coming. We all knew that this would come at the trade deadline, that this would happen. Even though he has a year left after this year on his contract. The rumblings had started at the end of June of last year. Right around the time that there was all the Kyrie Irving stuff, because remember the Celtics were trying to already pry Anthony Davis from New Orleans, because they knew once, if they didn't move because it looked like Kyrie Irving was going to be moved. The expectation was Kyrie Irving was not going to stay with the Celtics, right? So there was this feeling that maybe the Celtics would move Kyrie Irving in some kind of deal, because they knew that he wasn't going to stay, and then they'd go get Anthony Davis. Well, Kyrie Irving, as we all know, verbally agreed to stay. Now he can't sign his new contract with I was the WWE. Wow. He can't sign his new contract with the Celtics until July, when the free agent period begins, and he is going to sign that contract. He's already pretty much committed to them. Because of that, okay, the Celtics cannot be involved in this Anthony Davis stuff, because of the NBA rule, the bird rights and all that and stuff, okay? They cannot be involved. They cannot try to go after Anthony Davis until July 1st, which is a problem for New Orleans, because the best trade package would probably be the Celtics, because Danny Ainge has done a very good job building up draft picks, and obviously with the talent on his team, he can move some guys, and it's not going to hurt him too much to do that. So you got that layer to it. But here's the other thing too, okay? Ever since that whole stuff with the Celtics in the summer, everybody knows Anthony Davis was out there. You have that part of it. So this is not unexpected. But then you also have in the fall LeBron James saying that he would like very much to play with Anthony Davis. And of course the NBA even went, kind of nuts about this, thinking that LeBron was kind of tampering. They put up a notice out to players and all teams saying, this isn't just about front office personnel. This is also about players. You cannot covet other players from other teams. You can't do that openly. We know what's been going on for years behind closed doors. You've seen what LeBron, Dwayne Wade, all of them have done since 2005, all openly recruiting guys to come to their teams. But behind closed doors. I shouldn't say openly, but behind closed doors, but not so much that you don't know what's going on, right? They just don't actively make a quote to the press about it, like LeBron did. So, and look, LeBron thinks he can do anything he wants. What's the NBA going to do at this point? So, so you have that layer. So this Anthony Davis stuff is not a shock. But what's a shock is that this came from his agent. He hired this new agent, Rich Paul, I think sometime in last year, who is LeBron's agent, or if it was LeBron James. And lo and behold, Anthony Davis, who seemed like he was always going to leave New Orleans, but a year ago he helped win a playoff series for New Orleans. New Orleans was on the cusp of being one of those ascending teams. They had Boogie Cousins, they had Anthony Davis. Cousins gets hurt, obviously gets traded out. Well, not traded out, but he obviously signed as a free agent with the Warriors. And then Davis, the Pelicans fall apart. This year they're having an awful year. And now here's this trade request. Now, Anthony Davis is not the first elite NBA player to request a trade and then have it go public. So when this came out yesterday, I'm like, all right, so he wants to be traded. This is, whatever. We'll see how it plays out because, in a lot of cases, a lot of the options, it's going to play out probably not at the deadline. It's going to play out to the end of the season because if it's about getting draft picks, why would New Orleans make a deal now? They're going to want to see what these draft picks actually are. Like if you're trying to trade them to the Knicks, I don't think have a chance in hell. But let's just say hypothetically that the Knicks are in this and they're going to use because they're going to get obviously a top pick in the draft this year, right? Well, they're not going to know what that pick is until the lottery. And if you're New Orleans, you're saying, well, hey, I'd rather wait and see if we can somehow get our hands on the number one pick in the draft. So you wait and see who wins the lottery. If it's the Knicks, and the Knicks have a number one pick, and then you maybe see what else you can get from them, maybe get a third team involved and see what happens. So it doesn't behoove you to move him, especially when he has another year left here. It doesn't behoove you to move him before the deadline because you want to wait and see what picks you can actually get in exchange for him instead of just banking on the idea that you take the Knicks pick now. You don't know what that pick's going to end up being. It could be number 4, it could be number whatever. We don't know. So if you're going after a team like the Knicks, you don't, if you're thinking about giving them to a team like the Knicks, you wait and see what the lottery brings before you make that deal. If it's the Lakers, well, then obviously you're going to gut that young core that they have. And if you're the Lakers and LeBron James, you do that thinking, all right, we got to go get another free agent in the offseason and then go get a bunch of other role players because we're destroying everything that we built for the last few years before LeBron James got here, because right now they have a good young core in addition to LeBron James. So it's kind of like you're at a crossroads if you're Lakers, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But let me tell you what my issue is here, okay? I didn't mind so much that the whole thing going public yesterday. What I minded was what happened today. When this was the agent, and this was a power play to get him to LA. Does he probably want to go to LA? Yes, because it seems like obviously LeBron came out and said what he said, and obviously behind closed doors, it seems like there's been some wheeling and dealing going on, okay? We've seen this with all these guys over the years. But here's the thing. Now it goes public. And Rich Paul and says about Anthony Davis that he'll only sign an extension with the Lakers. He will not sign an extension with any other team. And you know what that means. That effectively eliminates anybody else going for him. Because otherwise, yesterday you could have seen something like what Oklahoma City did with Paul George. Remember, everybody in the world, including myself, said Paul George is going to the Lakers, right? So when Oklahoma City traded for him, like, well, why would you do that? Well, you hope he wins a championship in that year. Well, whatever, okay. Well, guess what happened? He liked it so much, he stayed. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. Think he's going to Brooklyn. He liked it so much in Boston, he's staying. So there were teams yesterday, like the Knicks, like, I don't know, the Clippers, a lot of teams that were kind of probably thinking, if we make this trade, maybe we can get him to stay. Right? So, but now they're not going to do that because whether it came from the agent or whether it came from Anthony Davis and it's going through the agent. It's been publicly said he will not sign an extension with anybody but the Lakers, meaning that's the only team he wants to go to. This destroys New Orleans. Destroys them. Because here's the thing. You might be able to get some teams out there, maybe one that's close to a championship. that says, you know what, let me go out there, trade for Anthony Davis, try to win it this year. Like maybe the Celtics go, you know what, we're kind of not doing as well as we had hoped. Let's go get Anthony Davis for this year. And then, you know, whether we win a championship or not, knowing he's not going to stay, we trade him in the offseason. And then we get something back for him. That's the only way that you see anybody else other than the Lakers trading for him now. Is if it's a rental and then another trade. So you basically rent them to win a championship. And again, that's a very select group of teams, like the Sixers, which I don't think would do it. But I think the team that would do it would be Boston. Boston's the only team I could see doing it. I can't see anybody else doing it because I don't think anybody else has the wherewithal to do it. Nor is anybody else close enough to a championship that had the wherewithal to do it. So let's say Boston decides, hey, we're like a 4 or 5 seed right now. We should be a 1. We're not. Let's move for Anthony Davis. We get Anthony Davis, see if we can win a championship this year. If it doesn't work out, well, even if it does work out, we know he doesn't want to stay beyond next year. Well, hell, maybe even try to keep him for next year to the deadline of next year and move him somewhere else and get more pieces back. I don't know. But you eventually you do trade him, get pieces back, and it was a rental for you. So that's the only way I can see it. Otherwise, he's going to the Lakers, whether it's through free agency or through a trade. So essentially, New Orleans can really, truly guarantee themselves one deal here, unless they just let him go to free agency and get nothing for him. That's not fair to that team. And if it is coming from Anthony Davis, it makes him look like a jerk. If it's coming from the agent, it doesn't help his cause. But still, at least if it's coming from the agent, like, well, he's just trying to play that's business. He's trying to help LeBron James too. But again, it makes you look bad. I mean, look, the trade thing, okay, fine. It's not a great thing to do, but at the same time, many guys have done it, and it's fine. When you essentially take away the negotiating power of your current team, it just makes you look like a complete jerk, and it makes you out to be the bad guy to that fan base. And you know what the funny part is? Even though that came out today, it seems like a lot of the fan base isn't even blaming. They're blaming ownership for wasting the years that they had Anthony Davis. It's odd because usually you see the fan base completely turn on a guy when they do something like that. So I'm not really sure what to make of that reaction. It's kind of unique, but at the same time, I guess it's perspective. Maybe because they're a long-suffering team. If they were a team that is used to winning, and that maybe I don't know. Maybe it's perspective. I don't know. But nonetheless, I don't like the way it's happened. I don't like the way it's being taken care of. And here's the thing: what it reinforces in all of this, okay, is that LeBron James is the puppet master of the NBA. Because ever since he came into the league, the whole landscape changed. The idea of super teams is not a new one. But the idea of players dictating where they go, how they exit from teams, recruiting each other behind closed doors. I mean, this is the players are essentially ruling the roost. And it should be a balance of players and ownership. It shouldn't just be one-sided. And it's hurting the game because that's what's led to us getting Cleveland. Well, it won't be Cleveland this year, but for the last 5 years, it's been Cleveland and Golden State. Every year. And now you're seeing this. Now it's going to be the Lakers. LeBron's going to be there. Anthony Davis is going to go there. Now there's talk that if Klay Thompson doesn't get a supermax deal with the Golden State Warriors, which he probably won't, he's going to go to the Lakers. And who knows about Durant when he's a free agent after this year. So it's just these guys just keep moving to different teams, and then they recruit guys to come join them. And I mean, if you're a fan of those teams, it's fun to think about. And yes, it's made for some good storytelling, good storylines, and some good matchups, and some good finals. But at this point, I think, and the NBA is down 20% in ratings. Now that could be because LeBron's out west, and those games are on later. That could be hurting. Maybe that's a theory I have, but whatever. But maybe it's also people are just sick of this. People like the idea of the wealth being shared. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're used to seeing every Batman have a Robin, right? Michael Jordan had a Scottie Pippen. Shaq had Kobe Bryant. We're used to that. But we're not used to seeing all these guys come together all at once in the recruitment of it. Can you imagine Michael Jordan had the power and influence in the league that LeBron James has right now? I mean, it'd be crazy.
I mean, to be honest with you, he did.
Yeah, but he
It's
didn't
just
do open
it's
recruit
just
guys.
no, because if you think about it, Michael Jordan never needed to.
No, he didn't.
He had the only guys I think he ever tried to go for was like somebody to fill that rebounder role.
He went.
So
He
then
went after role
he
players.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he didn't. Let's be honest here, and I don't mean to break in. I'm actually watching some SmackDown clips while I'm listening to you ramble about this, and but Michael Jordan never needed anybody else
Mm-mm.
because he once they drafted Scottie Pippen, Pippen was the final piece of the puzzle, and he and Jordan knew it. Pippen was the final piece. He had Horace Grant. He had Bill Paxton. He had the team of role players he needed that filled every need the Bulls had to have at that point in time. And
Right.
it paid off in 91. It paid off in 92. It paid off in 93. He went to go play baseball in 94 and 95. He paid off, and once he came back in 96, they upgraded everything. They didn't have Horace Grant, but they had Dennis Rodman, who was a weaker offensive player, but a vastly superior defensive player. They had Steve Kerr. They had an additional shooter in Kukoc. They had Luke Longley in the middle. So they had all of their needs fulfilled, and they had Jordan and they had Pippen, and either one of those guys could have gone for 30, 35, and 95, 96, 97, 90. Jordan or Pippen could have gone for 30 or 40 a night if they tried each. So let's change the conversation. Jordan didn't need to. He did have relationships with all of the best players in the NBA at the time, but he never wanted to recruit them to the Bulls because, frankly, he didn't need to recruit them to the Bulls.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh yeah.
And to be fair, if this is one of the reasons why when you have this conversation, the greatest of all time, and now I'm veering the conversation into a different thing, just so you're aware. LeBron openly recruited these other great players. He's openly recruiting behind closed doors. Well, I'm saying openly, but he's quietly recruiting all the greatest players to his team. It's almost like LeBron. LeBron is a very talented player. It's just he wants to have that additional leverage.
Right.
He wants to go with Dwayne Wade and wants to bring in Chris Bosh. He wants to have Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving with him. He wants to have Kevin Durant with him or whomever because it's less work for him. Because if you have another great player, period, you're set. Jordan did have a great player in Pippen. Pippen was one of the 50th greatest players of all time. Still is.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordan didn't openly need to recruit him. They drafted him.
Right.
LeBron went to different teams, is kind of getting different people here and there. So you could say on one level it's the same. But it's not. Jordan didn't want the other great players in the NBA on his team. He wanted to prove that he was better than them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. and that's gone now. That competitive fire is gone now.
No,
I
it's
mean,
a
you see
different
how
breed.
you see how these guys are with each other, even on social media. It's like it used to be. The rivalries were bitter, and there was tension, and there was fire, and that's what's lost in the game now.
There was a healthy respect in the game prior, but there
Right,
was there was a lot of competition, and with competition it breeds high emotions. In the current league, a lot of it is the attitude is passive. A lot
right,
of it is passive. And when it gets to a competitive level, a lot of the players don't know how to channel it in a way that doesn't start a fight on the court.
right,
And which is why you're seeing a lot of additional like bullshit skirmishes, because these individuals do not know how to handle this properly. If you get a hard foul, great. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to go up to the guy and punch him in the fucking face? No.
right, right,
What you're doing is you're hurting yourself, you're hurting your team because you're not on the court, right? I mean, yes, it happened in the old NBA, and it was way more brutal in the old NBA. A lot of these skirmishes these days are kind of pussyfooting around it, but let's be honest here. These
right.
skirmishes, they only hurt the team. And for what?
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing is that um, like you said, the competitive fire is gone, but these guys look at it as a business. I see at the beginning of this whole thing. Okay, LeBron's always looked at it as a business, but at the same time, he wanted to win because he had more value if he won, right? So that's it. That's where all this started. He tried it the Jordan way. He was with Cleveland. They had role players. It didn't work. He got to one finals with them. It didn't work. So what does he do? He goes to Miami and he recruits. He knows Wayne Wade's there, right? Already. So they recruit Chris Bosh there, and then they go get a bunch of veteran role players and try to win, and they do. And then he goes back to Cleveland to be the conquering hero, knowing full well that they already have some young players, including a young Kyrie Irving there. And then they go out and get Kevin Love. And if you look at that Cleveland team, I mean, well, Kevin Love was a superstar, but then as soon as he got to Cleveland, he almost became a role player. He wasn't the same star he was in Minnesota.
He was exclusively a role player in Cleveland.
But they lucked out because Irving developed into a star. So they didn't need Love to be what he was. They had LeBron and they had Kyrie Irving. So it kind of was like them Bulls teams in a way. In a way, they still had a little bit more to work with because Irving became a superstar. But it kind of fit that mold. He won a championship with them, and they went to how many finals together? Now he's with the Lakers. If you look at that Laker team with the young core that they have, with him there, they get a piece or two to add to it. They are a team that could win a championship. I mean, but the problem with LeBron is he's at the stage right now. First of all, I know he went out. People can make it all why he wanted to be a Laker and win, be part of that history and win there and everything. But it was more about his kid. We all know that. But it's also a business thing too. A lot of his studio's out, the studio out is out there, and business wise, it helps him a lot. But he's only there for what, 3 years? I think he signed 3 years with an option for 4, something like that, something along those lines. He knows he can't waste 2 years to build this up and then only have 1 year to go do it. He's willing to waste 1 year. He can't waste 2 years. And that's the reason why I think he's trying to make this work now. Because if he gets Davis now and then they go get one more free agent, they got 3 guys there, and that gives them 2 years to at least get one more championship. And then maybe he exercises an option, stays another, and then you got to go and get another. I mean, that's and that's what he preaches to these guys. It's not just about the winning the rings. It's, well, come with me. It's a great business relationship. It's going to help your value. It's going to make you look better, And of course, with the Lakers, he doesn't have to sell it because it's the Lakers, right? It's there's that lineage, that history, so that helps to sell it too. And I think there's a part of LeBron, they missed out on Paul George. which, everybody thought George was going to come over with the Lakers. Right around when LeBron did, right? Well, they missed out on Paul George. Now he's afraid they missed out on Durant or somebody else. So let's go get Davis now. Let's secure him, and then maybe that gets other guys to come here. Let's not take a chance on me just being enough to recruit him. That's where they're at. So I think there's a lot of layers here, but it's a big problem for the NBA. Because you got essentially one player, and it is your centerpiece player, your face of the NBA, who is playing, has shown other players that they can be the puppet master. He is the lead puppet master, but he's shown them that they can be the puppet master of this entire league. They can orchestrate where they go, how they do it, when they do it, and even who they play with. And that's bad for the league. Like I said, it's led to some good things, but mostly it's bad. It's killed parity. There's no parity in the NBA anymore. You might see a few teams break through, but the chance of them reaching the upper echelon are very small. It's a shame. And look, the Lakers have a decision to make here. Because if they go, they have a choice. They either go with this young core with LeBron, and then hope that in free agency they can go get a guy like Durant to add to the mix, or they trade most of them for LeBron, for Kyrie Irving, not Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and then have to go out and get maybe another free agent and a bunch of role players and almost start from scratch again. What do you do? It's a good question.
Your sound went out. Sound's still out.
Am I on now?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. I must have clicked off something. Okay. So what do you do? That's going to be the question. Like, do you? I mean, like I said, if you wait until he's a free agent, assuming he don't get moved and then like it somewhere else, but wait till he's a free agent, then you're in the final year of LeBron James with the Lakers, and you have to get it right in 1 year. That's the risk you take.
It is the risk you take. However, if you get to a point where your team develops and you get all these additional pieces before you bring him in, he's in the final year of a deal, you have to be on the cusp. The Lakers, and look, the Lakers aren't very good at this moment in time, but with a couple additional role players, they could be pretty decent. You bring them in the final year, and do pretty good or get close, you might convince them to stay. Who knows?
Yeah. See, my whole thing would be this, and there's no way they're going to get away with this. But if you could get away with not trading Kuzma, because that's the one player I think is a can't miss, I would not trade him.
Nope, you shouldn't trade Kuzma. Kuzma's a guy who could be one of your 10 pulls.
Right. I would not trade him. If you can keep him out of a deal, even if you have to go get a third team, I would do that. That would be the guy I keep. I mean, look, you lose Ball, who cares? I mean, any of the other guys I think are replaceable. You can work with that. You're losing still a lot of young guys, but Kuzma would be the guy. At least if you have LeBron and Kuzma, and then some of the other veteran role players that you already acquired, and you go get Davis, and you got him as an extension, and maybe you go get somebody, whether it's Klay Thompson. I don't know if Durant would work, but Klay Thompson might work for them.
Durant works for everybody but Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but I just don't know if Durant and LeBron on the same team. I don't think Durant wants to do that. I don't know. Durant's that guy. I mean, LeBron, you know what LeBron does. LeBron's a guy, yeah, he scores his points, but he facilitates. And he commands the ball on every possession to make that play. And, well, Durant's always passive, but I could just see that ending up in like a Russell Westbrook situation, even though LeBron does share the ball where, Durant kind of feels like he doesn't have a play. I just think that wouldn't work out. I think Durant would be better served going somewhere else. But Klay Thompson would benefit a lot off of LeBron James. As far as being open, getting open shots, I mean, you've seen what he does with great shooters. He really gets them a chance to get an open look. So I think that would be good for them. Because LeBron fills the need. You already have a couple point guards on the team. If you can keep Kuzma, that gives you a little bit of an interior presence, and you have Klay Thompson for open shots on the outside, you got something there. So that's something you can really work with. And if you have Anthony Davis there too, your interior is taken care of. So that would be something I'd look at, but I just don't see. I don't see there's any way they're going to get away with not putting Kuzma on a deal. I really don't see it. That's the guy everybody's going to ask for first, especially when the Lakers don't have a top draft pick to throw in there, unless they go get a third team involved. Then maybe they can make it work. But I don't know if a third team's going to want to help the Lakers get Anthony Davis. I just don't know if I see it. And like I said, unless it's a team that wants a rental, I don't see this getting done before February 8th, the deadline. I don't. Which means this will go into the offseason, which opens it up for the Celtics to sign Irving and then get involved in this. And maybe then you see the Celtics take a chance for next year and go, you know what, we'll take Anthony for the year. I was acting earlier like they could do it now. They can't unless they move Irving. They're not going to do that. So they'd have to wait to July 1st. So nobody's going to make this deal right now except for the Lakers. Let's just be fair. Because the Celtics are the only team that has the way to do it and will be in a championship pursuit this year. So this is going to wait. This is going to go to after July 1st, and then the Celtics will get involved. And they might say, hey, we'll take him for 1 year and let's bank on the idea that we change his mind about staying. But even if we don't, we have him for 1 year. And, they can always do a sign and trade. They can do a lot of different things. We'll see. But, yeah, I think, this comes down to the Lakers or the Celtics getting them. If it's after July 1st, I think the Celtics might have a little bit of an edge. Because I think they have the better package, and New Orleans will basically tell Anthony Davis, "Hey, look, we're trading you for the better package. You want to go to the Lakers? You go you go as a free agent. We're not sending you there because we're getting a better package from Boston because Boston can offer multiple picks, some good young talent, and they can do it without gutting their entire team. That's the key, which means they can go pursue a championship next year, Anthony Davis." So I could see them doing that and then hoping maybe they can get him to stay, like Oklahoma State got George to stay, or like Boston themselves got Irving to stay. And look, there's talk that Toronto might even get Kawhi Leonard to stay. So sometimes these things work out. And I think the Celtics can afford to take that risk. So, but it's a big problem for the NBA when the players are facilitating that, and it's been a problem, but it was reinforced today. And how do you change it? Well, some people suggest that they do what the NFL does and do a franchise tag, but that has its issues too. That has issues too. It leads to disgruntled players, and it leads to a lot of issues too. Honestly, I think a lot of this will go away once the LeBrons and the Durants retire. Once this era player retires, I think you will see that change. I really do. Because I think a lot of this is dictated by LeBron James. And, it's either guys that he likes that, work, that he openly recruits to try to get them, or there's guys out there that like to do what he does and say, well, LeBron can do it, why can't I? But if LeBron's not around to do it anymore, if he's out of the game, then you don't have the guys that he's trying to get. And then you got the guys out there that are trying to be like him. They're saying, well, LeBron's not in the game anymore. We're not allowing this anymore. It's like LeBron's almost like that unofficial players union rep, where it's like, well, LeBron does it, why can't I? And then everybody's like, well, if it gets back to LeBron, we're not letting this player do it. LeBron will say something because that's what he does. He always sticks up for what the players, what he feels like the players should be able to do. So that's his whole thing, because then it allows him to continue to do it. And once LeBron James is not in the game anymore, I don't think you're going to see that allowed as much, if at all. You might have the odd person that does it, but it won't be like it is. I mean, it's you know, it's just because it's really just him kind of bringing it about. Let's be fair, it is, because nobody thought of it before him, or nobody dared to do it before him, I should say. It's like he's a symbol of the players' power and what they can do. Will they still be able to do it when he's no longer in the game? I don't know. I doubt it, because he's such an influential player and he's so needed by the league that nobody wants to piss him off and nobody wants to dare say no to him. And if you affiliate yourself with him, if he's somebody, that you want to go play with, or he's interested in having play with, having you play with him, or if you use him as an example and be like, well, hey, this gets back to LeBron. He's going to say something publicly and you're going to come out with egg on your face. That's it. It all ties back to him. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that. I think it was a big story, and it is a big story, and it's something that's just a problem it's kind of hurt. It's really hurting the league, and it's going to continue to hurt the league. And we'll see where this ends up. I really don't expect Davis to be traded by the 8th. Again, I think it's going to spill out into the offseason, and then we'll see. I think that enters the Celtics into the fray, and then it's either they take a chance, and at the very least he's a rental, or the Lakers get him, and that's it. But I think he will be traded eventually. I don't think it's going to play out all the way to free agency in 2020. I don't really see that at all. So, but makes for yet another compelling NBA offseason. That's for sure. Well, speaking of things like contracts and all kinds of interesting stuff and big power players moving elsewhere, how about Dean Ambrose? As we jump to wrestling now. So that was an interesting piece of news that came out really at like 2 a.m. yesterday. Let me bring in some of the Raw stuff and some of the Royal Rumble stuff here, because
why don't we just start with the Royal Rumble and go from there?
Well, there's a reason why I'm doing that. So hang on. You saw what happened to Ambrose in the Rumble. I didn't think anything of it. Big whoop. He got unceremoniously eliminated. The guy's been on their who gives a crap list for about the last month since him and Rollins had an awful match at TLC. Okay? And then you saw what happened on Raw last night, which I don't really get the big deal about in terms of what Nia Jax did to him. Because she hit him she hit him from behind, and he just kind of fell out of the ring. It's not like the guy got destroyed by her in the ring. Why are we acting like I should keep seeing people say she humiliated him? Like, she threw Mustafa Ali out of the Rumble on Sunday night.
He's gonna be in the Elimination Chamber.
Exactly. And then we saw three of WWE's top guys have to use finishers and signature moves on her to get her out of the ring on Sunday night.
Yep.
So let's not act like what happened to Dean was a burial on Monday night, because it wasn't. And yeah, he lost clean to Rollins, but how many times has he beaten Rollins? I mean, I don't know what people's idea of I mean, again, have they handled his character poorly? Yes. Have they handled his heel turn very badly? Yes. But was he buried on Monday night? No. He had a very interesting segment with Rollins and Triple H, which looked like it was building something. And then, and this is why I'm saying this right now, He goes out. You come back from commercial before the Nia Jax stuff, right? And he's in the ring with a chair, and he says, "When I signed with WWE," and then he stops, and he goes, "Don't be a jerk. I'm trying to bare my soul here." And then he gets cut off by Nia Jax. And then not an hour or so after Raw, we get reports that he is leaving WWE and that he gave his notice and that this was going on all weekend. And then today, we obviously all had a discussion. And then WWE, which, Mike, you know, they've done this before, but usually it's about a guy retiring or something that's kind of played out publicly for quite a while. Because this Dean Ambrose stuff came out of nowhere, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They come out publicly, WWE, even giving the statement to ESPN, wishing him well and saying that he'll leave when his contract expires and that they hope he returns soon. They've never done that.
Mm-hmm.
And Renee Young's on his Instagram, the world is yours. And look, they know there's some people that think, okay, they did this because they know with it out there now that they're going to get chance and it's going to be a big deal. Maybe they're getting ahead of it. Okay, since when did they ever worry about that? Something's up here. And I know people don't think it's a work or something. Maybe he is indeed interested in maybe this is a CM Punk situation where he has given his notice, but they're banking on running some kind of angle here like they did with Punk to get him to change his mind. That's what I'm thinking is going on because this is too weird for me to think this is 100% like they've just given up on and he's going to leave. Am I wrong about that?
I don't think he's this one. This one's hard to kind of process a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I don't think he's 100% given up, but I think he is burned out. That much is true.
Yeah, he does look it.
I think, if anything, he's ready for a break. I don't think he's another Punk. I don't think he's going to go to mixed martial arts. I don't even think he's going to go to AEW
Yeah.
or New Japan. I think he's actually legitimately looking for a break. Um, Although the way it's being handled makes a lot of people think it's an angle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing because Dean Ambrose's contract doesn't expire until April.
Mm-hmm.
Why is WWE putting out this message in the end of January? And look, the Nia Jax thing is the Nia Jax thing. You're getting Nia Jax over, and I still am not sure why. I'm still not sure why she's not getting pushed for everything that she's done to pretty much almost everybody she's wrestled in the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, The Rock's cousin is still somebody that's going to be put over.
Right.
The Rock's cousin and Ember Moon's idol, who she's been uh, just shaping her career after since she started wrestling, even though Ember Moon started wrestling before Nia Jax. Just Ember Moon's idol and The Rock's cousin, Nia Jax. We just got to put her over. And poor Ember Moon, by the way.
Dad, do we know when she got injured? Was that a Nia thing?
No, that was an Alexa Bliss thing.
Oh, wow.
Alexa Bliss did her double knees landed right on Ember Moon's arm in an awkward position in the Rumble.
Actually, Mike, she was injured. According to the reports, she was injured before the Rumble.
Nope.
She had the elbow brace already on.
She had the elbow brace already on, but the Bliss knees made it
Worse.
emergency surgery. It
Oh,
made
okay.
an emergency surgery thing.
So it was something that she was working with, and then it got aggravated.
She was working through it. And
all right. So okay.
Alexa Bliss's knees fell right in. So that was so luckily for Ember that wasn't a Nia thing. That was an Alexa Bliss thing, and Alexa Bliss actually did publicly apologize on social media. So I'm like, Nia Jax, good for Alexa.
Oh, well, no heat on her then. Okay.
Well, there's not going to be any heat on Alexa Bliss. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's true. She's pretty much golden at this point. But
yeah, there's not going to be any heat on Alexa Bliss. That looked like it was an accident. She was supposed to land on her stomach and landed on her bad arm. Yeah. But then again, Alexa Bliss has been out of the ring for months. What's Nia Jax's excuse?
Mm, good point.
But I digress. The Nia Jax thing was just meant to get over Nia Jax. It's not like Dean looked bad. Mustafa Ali looked worse
Mm,
in the Rumble, especially since Mustafa Ali is going to be in a main event match at the Elimination Chamber coming up. Things make me
mm,
go,
mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. But yeah,
Um,
that's
you
the
know,
Dean.
what threw me. Here's the reason why I think there's something to this. If they had this information all weekend and they've been saying, I know they wait for their source to confirm and all this other stuff, okay? But if he gave his notice and everybody's been sitting on this story, okay? Isn't it awfully odd that it gets out a couple hours after he almost does almost looks like he's gonna do like a pipe bomb promo on Raw?
Yep.
Like he starts off like when I signed with WWE and like something's about to happen there. And a couple hours after Raw, this gets out, and then the next day WWE issues a statement on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way that it came off like okay, they're biting. They're biting on this. Let's keep going with it. Like it's just the way way it came out because we've seen this before. Like we've been seeing it for the last couple of weeks with all this talent that asks for their releases, right? As soon as they ask for a release, it gets out almost the next day. Very rarely, I mean, yeah, once in a while you hear, well, they asked for the release a couple months ago and it was denied, but but most of the time, especially lately, whenever somebody even thinks about leaving, it comes out. How many times has Dolph threatened to leave, and every single time it gets out? And I'm expected to believe that this happened over the weekend and that Dean's had a contract offer for months and just turned it down recently. And all of a sudden this weekend, this last night, it comes out. And then WWE is going to acknowledge it. Because here's the thing, WWE is going to, for all the Ambrose fans, are going to completely crap all over WWE going to WrestleMania now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do WWE any good to comment on this. They could have just left it alone and they could, people just were chanting whatever they want to chant, but WWE's not acknowledging it. They're saying, you know what, we don't know anything about it. If he's leaving, we don't know what his stat, they just blissfully act ignorant. Because that's what they've done with these things before. And then when he actually does leave, they release a statement the next day, and that's it. The fact that they even did this is, to me, almost like we know that there could be a story here, and we're going to run with it. It could be like their way of trying to reboot him because they realize that this what they've done with Ambrose completely flopped. Bad. Real bad. And I don't know if I can see Vince McMahon letting one member of the Shield leave the company. I don't think, unless he's burnt out and he wants a break and he's like, they did say in there, we hope he comes back soon. Maybe he needs a year off. I mean, here's the thing people got to remember too. He almost died last year. He had an infection. He was in and out of the hospital. He went through hell. Maybe his priority, and they did say he doesn't live an expensive lifestyle. He has money. Maybe he wants a break. Maybe his priorities are different now. Maybe it's not all about wrestling with him anymore. Maybe he needs to get away from the grind of it to be able to find his passion again. Because even before all this, and I love how people are like, well, if you read the story, it mentions that he's frustrated with creative, right? And it reached its boiling point recently. What have they been doing with him that's any different than, I mean, they've been doing hokey and stupid stuff with Dean Ambrose since he broke up with the Shield. He's had hot dog carts. He's had a plant, which he called Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been doing stupid. I mean, remember the Wyatt program? He's been doing stupid stuff for years. And you expect me to believe now it reached its boiling point? I mean, okay, well, his contract is up. Yeah, but you don't think that along the way we would have heard that he's so frustrated that he's thinking about leaving? Well, AEW, that's the thing right there. It's because of AEW. Well, people think that's the reason why he's leaving because he has an option now. That's an option? Let them run a show first, and then tell me if they're an option. Because here's the thing: they're an option. Are they an option? Yes, but are they a guaranteed option? No.
Not at this moment in time.
A lot of these guys, honestly, are just are. I mean, some people will take the risk if they don't care. If it's just about wrestling and they don't care about the money. So maybe Dean Ambrose will because he doesn't care about the money. Maybe he will. But it's also starting to get a rep for being just an embittered, bitter group of people that are just pissed off at WWE at this point. Because Jericho's not helping his cause either recently. I mean, you're starting to get a reputation for all you want to do is just be, let's get every bitter guy in WWE and bring them over here just to prove a point. You're not, you should be trying to go after some other guys just besides people that are just bitter. I mean, that's just what it's coming off like, and that's not what you want. That's not what you want. So, to me, this comes off more like a guy that just wants a break. If it isn't a work, which I'm leaning in the direction that it is. If he hadn't done that, tried to start that promo yesterday, and if you had heard rumblings this weekend that this is something that they might do, that he might be leaving, if you heard it before Raw last night, I might be inclined to believe it. More so. I'm not saying I could be 100. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I'm leaning in the direction that there's something to that it's a work, or it's at very least a CM Punk situation where he gave his notice and they're like, you know what? We're going to run an angle here. And we're going to do something. We're going to try to reboot your character along the way and give you a great WrestleMania story. And if you don't like where we're at with you, if you don't like the way this goes, then you can leave. If you do, then the contract's on the table. It'll be like a CM Punk situation. Now, I won't say where I read this. I'll just bring this up. Over the weekend, I was being told by a source that Triple H's WrestleMania program was Braun Strowman. But a lot of speculation yesterday was that Triple H's program might end up being Dean Ambrose. So, of course, there were some people who think Dean Ambrose could face Nia Jax after yesterday, but I don't really think that's going to happen. But could you see? I mean, look, they were going to do that with Punk, right? When Punk was going to leave, they dangled Triple H in front of Punk. I could see them doing that because there was something to that promo yesterday. Definitely something. And again, if he's leaving, would WWE have spent so much time on him yesterday and had him come in the ring with that chair and everything? Why would they bother doing that? Unless they are setting up an angle like they did with Punk. Or like a work or whatever it is. If he's leaving and they don't give a crap, they wouldn't be doing that. Or they could have just kept him off TV entirely. Something's up. Something's definitely up there. It's not as black and white as he's just leaving. I'm sorry, it's just not. There's no way. Not the way it all went down. No way. So that story, I don't know what it is about after Royal Rumbles in late January with interesting stuff like this. It seems like it always happens now, doesn't it? But yeah, so it's been an interesting week. You had the Ambrose stuff now, and then we had the Rumble on Sunday, which ended up being a great event. I'm sure Mike will agree with me that it looks like most of the results were the right ones.
Most of them were the right ones. Most of them were also predictable, but
the right ones.
I won't say one or two were not the right ones, but all right.
Well, I think a lot of people's jaws dropped when they had Asuka tap out Becky, but again, Becky did win the Rumble and looked strong doing it, so I don't think anybody has an issue with that.
Well, okay, hold on. Let's hold the phone there. Because I've seen plenty of people who had an issue with it.
What, Asuka
Asuka,
Tap.
well, Becky tapping out. It's like, oh, why didn't you just have Becky pass out?
Well,
Look strong. Well, I mean, I thought about it. I was thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably have the same conclusion. If Becky's going to come out later and win the Royal Rumble, it kind of, if she tapped out to Asuka, it kind of puts who she's going to wrestle in doubt, doesn't it? Because now she's got something to prove.
right.
She's like, well, Asuka is the only person who beats me. She made me tap out on this stage, and I want to get my revenge. So Asuka could be a person I go after. Alternatively, I've had this issue with Ronda Rousey since November, so this is my opportunity to choose my fate. Do I get revenge on Asuka or do I get revenge on Ronda Rousey?
Right.
Although so that's my feeling.
Right.
And honestly, despite what other experts might say, Asuka tapping, and I'm not an expert, I'm a fan,
Yeah.
but Asuka tapping out Asuka tapping out Becky Lynch was 100% the correct choice, and they made it so she didn't even tap out to a regular Asuka lock. She did the inverted Asuka lock. Well, the Asuka lock with the cattle mutilation kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked more devastating. It looked like Becky Lynch was going to get choked out and have her shoulder torn off. So they made it extra so you can justify have Becky tapping out in that case.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was shocked by it. It doesn't mean I thought it was the wrong thing to do. I honestly was just shocked they went ahead and did it. I thought it was going to be interference or something, you know?
It was 100% clean. It was 100% the right thing to do.
And Asuka needed that. You know, she needed that legitimacy to her reign. And look, here's the thing. It's not hurting Becky. Becky hasn't lost in a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you know she's winning, and here's the thing, too. I think you need a definitive, because it doesn't fit Becky's character. If she passes out in the submission, then she'll be like, well, hey, I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to win this title back. Her tapping out, I lost to you. You're the better woman. I lost to you. Now I'm going to move on, pick myself up, and go after another challenge. I mean, it makes sense to me what they did. It really does. So I didn't have any issue. And I thought the Women's Rumble was all right. The second half was much better than the first. The Men's Rumble, it was okay. I think they should have flip-flopped, and the Women's Rumble probably should have main evented, but I get why they did it, because women are going to probably main event WrestleMania. So, I mean, the Men's Rumble was all right for what it was. They had the right final two, I thought, for the most part. It was a little weird to have, like, Dolph in there, and look, Dolph needs to stop with the whole I'm leaving WWE thing, because every time he says that, he ends up in the Rumble. So, I mean, there were some things I didn't like the Nia Jax thing. I didn't really mind it. And I have, and there's talk that wasn't supposed to be Nia, that somebody else was supposed to take out R-Truth, and it just didn't work out. So Nia was kind of like the last minute, let's just pull off a surprise, stick her in the Rumble thing. So, I mean, if that's the case, whatever. I didn't mind it so much. I mean, I think a lot of people
could have been better.
I wouldn't have. The only thing I don't like is that she eliminated Ali, and I know people are going to act like it never happened and all that other stuff. But I don't like that she did that. I didn't mind her taking the moves and everything. I thought that was fine. I thought that was kind of cool, and kind of like everybody. I know they took some flack for it. We knew they were going to. But, since there's been so much talk of intergender wrestling, I think it was kind of like a nice little like a throwing of the bone to those fans. So, I mean, it was what it was. It was a weird group to have in the end, as far as like the final group. But it came down to the right final two, I thought. And look, Rollins is Rollins. I mean, we all thought that would be the guy, and that's the guy. So I didn't think the Rumble was bad. The worst match on the card, I mean, Brock and Finn, I thought did a great job. Even the finish, which almost implied that there's going to be another match for Brock and Finn, which I don't think there will be, but it kind of implied that. But the way that they did it and focusing on, I wish they would have brought up, you and me talked about it a lot during the match, the diverticulitis, because that obviously would have played into it. But outside of that, I thought there was a great match. It was easily better than Bryan versus Styles, which is just at this point, please end it.
Mm.
It sucks. It's terrible. It's it's just terrible. I'm sorry. I just can't get into it anymore. I'm
It
glad that
was it was rough.
at least the
That
Elimination Chamber's got other guys now. So
then that's the other thing with Bryan and Styles. That match should not be rough.
no.
The most interesting part, I swear, when the most interesting part of Daniel Bryan versus Chris versus AJ Styles is what the hell is Eric Rowan doing there?
Yeah.
You,
You have a problem.
you have a big problem. You have to stop and think, what the fuck am I doing wrong?
Yeah. Understatement. It's understatement.
Quite a few things.
The Ronda Sasha match was decent.
It was fine.
I liked the ending with the 4 horsewoman thing, and then I thought it was a very good pay-per-view. Shane and Miz won, but we all knew that was going to happen. The pre-show matches were what they were. I mean, it was not a right event. It was it was solid. The last 2 pay-per-views they've had have been good. I mean, obviously NXT, from what I heard, was better, but that's always par for the course. And then you had Raw last night, and I mentioned already the Ambrose segment, so I won't go into that. Kind of shocked that they didn't put Alexa and Mickey in the Elimination Chamber. I mean, I'm not shocked that Nia and Tamina are in there because they can do spots with that, but I thought they'd at least put Alexa and Mickey in there. But we got the Riot Squad in there. I'm sure Sasha and Bayley are going to be in there. I thought I saw some teams on SmackDown tonight that were basically just announcing that they're in, which I think is weird because Raw has qualifying matches and SmackDown teams just announcing themselves. Interesting. But anyway, but yeah, you had the ending segment with Rollins and Brock, which is just setting up Rollins as the underdog. We all know that. It's weird that they're playing Triple H as a face now. I guess they can just change it week to week.
No shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear Finn Balor's program is now Bobby Lashley. So, which is fine because I imagine that used to be Ambrose versus Balor, and now it's not. So, because Bobby's got the Intercontinental title, and then you had the Ronda Becky moment, which look, Ronda, she had a great match with Bayley. I'll give her that. She blew the promo, and they sent Bayley out there early, clearly because the crowd was just going nuts on her. She couldn't even get her words out, and then once Becky came out there, Becky looked great, and then, I mean, she brought a little bit of it out of her, and she wasn't bad there, but boy, when she first came out, it was bad. Ooh, it was bad. She should have put a phone call into Roman Reigns to learn how to deal with that, because she just looked, and she played it off. I mean, she played it off okay, like, oh, you guys got me to stutter, but boy, it was bad. So yeah, it wasn't a great Raw, but there was some interesting stuff. There was some interesting stuff there. SmackDown was just weird though. What are they doing with the U.S. title? Good Lord. Did you see what happened there?
Well, I did. I just thought we would talk about the Royal Rumble a little bit more because I didn't give my opinions.
Well,
on that.
I'm kind of moving
but
through.
hey, let's move to that first.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like they botched it. Looks like they botched it.
You think?
Gave R-Truth. I don't think it was. I think it was made to look like a botch, but I think that was the intended finish. R-Truth is. It was a thank you for him doing the favor for Nia Jax. But at this point, it's 2018. Do we really need R-Truth to be the United States champion? But hey, I guess it's a feel-good moment for the moment, and that we took both Nakamura and Rusev away from Truth, since they both lost, even though Nakamura should have a rematch, and looks like Rusev and Nakamura are going to be a tag team now. Okay. And then R-Truth is just going to be United States champion.
Well, we'll see.
Well, it's kind of like Santino. He kind of saved that elimination chamber match with Daniel Bryan, and then he was given the Intercontinental title as a thank you, and then his reign ran way too fucking long. So,
Yeah.
R-Truth, look, there is a place and time for R-Truth right now, and the fact that he's Intercontinental Champion probably sates some of the audience, and that's fine. But this reign can't go very long. Because unfortunately, R-Truth in 2018 probably shouldn't. If he's going to hold the title, which he currently is, he needs to drop it within like a month or two. Because you're not going to take R-Truth into WrestleMania as the defending champion. It's just how it works.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying it's how it works because they're going to probably want to. Look, if R-Truth is going to be U.S. champion, it's probably going to end up in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Then it won't have a dedicated match on the card because. So for the U.S. title itself to have a dedicated match on the card, it would need to be not in the hands of R-Truth unless Truth does his best work in the next 3 months. And if that's the case, then fine. Let's go with R-Truth, sure. But he's got to do his best ever work in the next 3 months, and I don't know. I just don't see it happening based on recent history.
Yeah,
it looked like a fluke.
It was weird. And of course, Rusev turns heel, and of course, Elias went back to being a heel last night. So I don't know what's going on there.
Stupid shit. That's what's going on there.
They just can't make up their mind. But yeah, it was a weird show. And then you got the ending, which set up the elimination chamber, which is going to be a great match. With those guys in there. I'm just happy it's not Daniel Bryan and AJ again. Please just end that nonsense. Oh my god. There's some good stuff with Rey and Andrade. Obviously, they started hot with Charlotte and
Becky.
So I mean, it wasn't a bad show, but again, not too many. Just there's probably more they could have done with it. I forgot to mention on Raw they had Jeff Jarrett and
Road Dogg.
Road Dogg, and Jeff Jarrett signed a contract. I guess he's going to be an on-air character now, and he's going to be working in the back. They've been doing that a lot. Shane Helms is going to be a producer in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're doing that with a lot of guys, it looks like. But yeah, that's some interesting stuff there. So, but pretty uneventful for after Rumble. Raw and SmackDown. Of course, we missed the days when we had Triple H and Undertaker showing up and stuff like that. But Mike, I'll throw to you because I did run through all three of those things. Your thoughts? You can do Rumble, Raw, SmackDown. Throw it all out there if you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's very nice of you to actually ask me my thoughts for once.
Oh, I was going to ask you anyway, so stop.
Oh, you were not.
I was too. I was just going through everything at once, so stop.
I think you were just running through it too quick because you're impatient and want to get off the air. Well, if you hadn't rambled at the beginning, we wouldn't be this.
I am not. Shut up.
We wouldn't be in this position.
Oh, bullcrap.
I mean, bullcrap comes later, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
So I do have to go to the bathroom at some point.
So
I can confirm that there will be bull crap, except I'm not a bull, but there will be crap. Anyways, the Royal Rumble. Predictable, yet enjoyable. I think the best match was the first match. I think Becky and Asuka had a feeling out process at the beginning of the match. But once we got to the finish, it was hot. It was moving quick. And the finish was the right one. It was probably the best singles match on the card. The Bar versus Shane McMahon and Miz. I know you're a Miz fan, but do you even like this idea? Do you think it kind of sucks?
I'm resigned to it, though.
I mean, we're resigned to it, and it just kind of makes it worse because we're compounding what happened on SmackDown. So we have Miz and Shane McMahon. I'm going to spoil SmackDown for the moment. At the Elimination Chamber is going to be Miz and Shane versus the Usos. Can we not do the Usos, please? I'm a little fucking sick of the Usos and the New Day here. I like the Bar. I do. Maybe we need a brief break from the Bar. That's fine, but can we not fucking do the Usos? Can we not? Can we do Gallows and Anderson? Can we do Sanity? Can we do literally any other damn tag team on SmackDown and not be the Usos or the New Day? Because we've had the Usos, we've had the New Day. We don't need to see them wrestling Miz and Shane McMahon. Sorry, it's just unnecessary at this point. But the match was what it was. It was a smart finish. You push Cesaro into Sheamus's bro kick, and then you do the shooting star press, which Shane actually landed to the surprise of everybody. I mean, the match was fine, just was kind of shit. And then what? You had Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks, which was something. And the end of it lasted too long. Like the the post match stuff ended way too long. It took way too long to happen. Made you think something more was going to happen, except for the fucking Sasha holds up the four horsewoman things and walks away, and Ronda Rousey looks perturbed. Who cares? The match was just okay. I agree the women's rumble should have been last. It was the much more interesting rumble, but obviously if the men or women are going to main event WrestleMania, then I guess you should have the men's rumble. I was disappointed in the lack of fireworks this year. There was pointing, but there was not fireworks, and that is disappointing. Pun intended, wholeheartedly. The women's rumble was complete shit until you got to like position 12. Once you got past 12, it was fine. Lacey Evans and Natalya were a good way to start it. However, Lacey Evans, she had some troubles in the big moment at the beginning. But once she finally calmed down and there was more people, there was less pressure on her. She really showed what she could do. Lacey Evans is going to be a player moving forward. And she had a good rumble. Rhea Ripley was impressive. There were a couple whom I'm like, I don't know who they are. But Rhea Ripley looked very, very impressive. Bliss looked fine, except for injuring Ember Moon a little further. Ember Moon, to her credit, wrestled 53 minutes. She less than that for 53 minutes. She was, I think she was the Iron Woman.
No, it was Natalya, wasn't it?
Was it Natalya? I thought Natalya went out first.
No. Well, she did, but I think because Ember came in, a couple, like 4 or 5 after her or something?
Ember was like 6, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Ember lasted longer, but Ember was in it for 53 minutes. She was fantastic. Natalya was great. Bayley was a house of fire. I didn't like the way they booked the entrances in the Rumble. And by entrance, I mean when they come in, usually they do a couple hot moves. They might hit signature moves or a finish on some guys, and then they kind of ease them back into the action after they get their spotlight. This year in both the men's and the women, mostly it was exclusively the women's. Women would get in the ring, they'd hit a hot spot here and there, like hit 1 or 2 hot spots, and then they immediately are flattened. Immediately were flattened. And I'm like, it just kind of takes you out of things because you get like one move for highlight and then they're immediately getting speared by Charlotte or a discus lariat by Natty. It's like, do you really need this at this point in time? That was weird booking for the Rumble. I wasn't sure why they did that. You mentioned it might have been a Road Dogg special, and that seems about right.
Hmm.
Because a lot of them would get bigger spots later on, like 10 minutes after they've entered, they'll have their big moment before either they get eliminated or things happen. Road Dogg booking. Um, we've already hinted this. The AJ Styles thing, AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan was a damn mess. It was boring. It was uninteresting. There was no Daniel Bryan for on his end acted fine. He was fine. AJ Styles should have walked into that match with a little bit of fire, a little bit of passion, because the whole fucking storyline building up to this point was him being. Vince McMahon wanted to see the real AJ Styles. He wanted to see the animal. And what do we get from the animal AJ Styles? Chain wrestling, headlocks, chin locks. That match was slow. It was boring. It was uninteresting. There were a few cool moments, sure, but wow. That match was not good. And it was certainly not a good Daniel Bryan versus AJ, good technical match should expect from these guys. It was not good. And again, Eric Rowan was the most interesting part of the match, and I'm not sure why. He was even in that spot. I thought the Bludgeon Brothers were still a thing. I don't know, more questions for later. They'll address it, or they won't. Who cares? They certainly don't. Brock versus Finn Balor was a very interesting match. And by the way, Chris Jericho is the last guy who needs to say anything about having a gut. For the record. Chris Jericho, God, I love Chris Jericho. Don't get me wrong. But he is the last fucking guy who's like, used to comment about any wrestler having a gut. Brock Lesnar's gut has a six pack. It might look a little flabby, but who gives a shit? It also was the focal point of the match, and it was bad announcing not to even kind of reflect that, hey, Brock's diverticulitis makes his stomach a weak point. That was bad, and Finn targeting the stomach because it's Brock's major weak point. It's what he protects. And hey, Finn's got this move called the coup de grace, which he puts both of his feet right in your fucking stomach. So better announcing at that point in time would have kind of sold the match more than it was. But the match itself was really good. Brock tends to work better when he's with smaller guys that he actually likes. He likes Finn. I think he likes Finn. And he had a good match with Finn. He had a better match with Finn than AJ Styles, I think. Holy crap. That's weird. But it wasn't better than Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan match was a good match. It was technically sound match. It was a very good lesson in storytelling. But I digress. Men's Rumble was fine. I wasn't a fan of the Elias Jeff Jarrett shit, though. It started it. And it seemed like there was hard to get momentum. The Nia Jackson kind of fell flat for me. She should not have eliminated Mustafa Ali. Probably should have been Andrade, to be quite honest with you. Even though I wouldn't have done it with Andrade either. I would have left a guy in there, like a rando guy, lower card guy, to kind of be eliminated by Nia Jax. I would have left Ali in there a little longer. Seth was predictable, but not wrong. And again, and yes, Braun should have been the last guy in with Seth. I don't even know what you do with Braun. He said he's going to wrestle Triple H.
That was a rumor this weekend.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you do with Braun otherwise if he's not wrestling Lesnar.
I mean, they're still continuing the stuff with Corbin and Drew.
The Corbin shit can fuck right off.
And that Kurt Angle lose to him Baron Corbin last night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I don't know where they go. I mean, I was hearing over the weekend Braun Triple H, but with the Ambrose stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's that looks like one or the other. Maybe could be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's also Undertaker sitting out there too that has no match so far.
That's true. It's also true.
So
So
you could go there too. Because
that's true.
it seems like Drew's going to have Cena based on the fact they keep mentioning that Drew's the one that cost Cena his spot in the Rumble.
It seems like they're gonna go in that direction. Yes.
So,
Um,
so Cena's got a match. So it's Taker and Triple H that don't have matches. Now, as Batista comes back and takes Triple H, then
who's the Undertaker wrestle? Do you
hmm
have the Undertaker wrestle? Now, these are questions that you're gonna have to answer. But the Royal Rumble was fine. It was actually very good as a pay per view as a whole. It was generally entertaining, predictable, sure, but it's fine being predictable. There's the right outcomes. Becky
hmm
winning was the right outcome in the end, and Seth Rollins is look. It was down to Rollins or Braun. It was you were gonna get it right either way. So you went with Rollins. It's fine. He'll have a good match with Brock. Um, but you got to put the title on him though.
yeah, it has to end.
I think we're at the point where once Brock Lesnar loses this title, they can't have him be world champion anymore. He doesn't need the title. He doesn't want the titles. To be quite honest with you, it's Brock Lesnar. It doesn't matter. He's going to be the draw with or without it. He does. It's not like he takes the title anywhere and kind of holds it out in public. He doesn't care. He's Brock Lesnar. He'd rather take the title and throw it at Vince McMahon, which he
hmm
does on a regular basis.
That's not new.
That's not new. It happened all the time. Um, so it is what it is. And then you go to Raw, and then not a whole lot really happened on Raw. You got the angle. The angle thing was weird. The Revival versus the Hawkins and Ryder was weird. And Elias versus Jeff Jarrett wasted time, and Mojo Rawley is teasing something, and the Riot Squad and Nia and Tamina. Why was Alexa Bliss doing a job for Nia Jax at this point? That's not,
Mm.
doesn't seem right. Bailey versus Ronda was apparently good, and then again Ronda was flustered. She didn't know how to handle a hostile crowd. The promo was bad. They sent Bailey out there early because Bailey can handle it a little bit better. And then you have the match. Ronda wins. The surprise of absolutely nobody. Um, and then Bailey's an afterthought because they immediately go into Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch challenges Ronda Rousey. She doesn't even give it any time to think.
Hmm.
And then we're on SmackDown now. And then we're on SmackDown now. From what I remember, it was from what I remember seeing, SmackDown was very strange. There was only one team I think from SmackDown that declared, and it was Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. They declared for the Chamber. Um, Becky Lynch lost to Asuka, won the Royal Rumble. Where was Asuka on this show?
She wasn't.
Exactly, she wasn't. The R-Truth thing is just weird. This show was like building up stuff. Shane versus Miz had a thing, and then Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville and Asuka candidacy for the Women's Championship to Kayla. I don't know who Kayla is. Oh, they offered. Oh, they're doing that segment. They offered an explanation of why she's been trying to fuck with Naomi. Because Naomi, during the Tough Nut days, was a complete asshole to Mandy Rose. So this is Mandy getting revenge. Okay. And then we get the Usos again because of fucking course we do. And then we
hmm
had what the Brian Daniel Bryan and his hemp title now.
Yes.
His hemp title, all natural, natural stones, natural organic championship. Yeah. Yikes. What a choice. But I will say, though, that promo at the end, Samoa Joe
I'm
murders
hearing about that.
everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, what he said to Jeff Hardy is just pure malice and the most amazing promo. What he said to Jeff Hardy was fantastic.
Can he get the title? Can he get the title, please?
I wouldn't mind it, but I don't think he will. But that's where we are, kind of everywhere else wise with Raw, SmackDown
That
as
seems to
well,
be the biggest talking point from SmackDown is Samoa Joe's promo right now.
as it should be. It was the line of the week.
Jesus, I can't wait to watch that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but yeah, I agree. It was kind of like a lot of build up, but just not as eventful. And again, this is something they're going to have to deal with. They don't have the big guys to come back anymore and save them. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to rely on the guys they have, and it's got to be interesting. And I think that's the problem. They just don't. They need a big angle. That's why I'm thinking if they do something with Ambrose and do something Punk like here with Ambrose, it could be interesting.
Absolutely. I'll
Gives
be
them
right back.
something. Gives them something going into Mania. So, um, but yeah, and so it's been again crazy week for wrestling, and um, I think we covered all our bases. We covered, they have announced Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for Universal title at WrestleMania. We obviously announced Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey for the women's title at WrestleMania. Although, if you believe the reports, Charlotte is going to be added to that match at some point. I'm not quite sure I'm convinced of that, but again, that's always a possibility. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. But I think it's probably 50-50 right now, but we'll see. Um, an Elimination Chamber card, which is in a few weeks, is already taken. It's already starting to come into focus. Um, what else? We covered the Dean Ambrose stuff. I don't think there's anything else that we have to cover in wrestling. I think we covered all the big points. So it's getting late, so we don't want to be going on too long here. We do have one more segment to get to, and that's from entertainment. Um, and I said that I would do this tonight because we've been struggling with this segment. Because I haven't been able to get to as many TV shows lately as I would like. Um, I just haven't. I'm still behind on things. I think I caught a Gotham episode from like 2 weeks ago last week, which was good. It had some great stuff with Selena and Bruce. That was a good, little good adventure for them, setting that stage. And then the Gotham version of Harley Quinn, which I thought was really good. It wasn't the origin story I like, but I'll live with it because they obviously had their own canon. And then they had a shocking ending, which was incredibly, incredibly dark for them. But I thought that was a really good episode. It starts off had a great start to their final season, and other than that, I haven't been able to get to anything else. You're watching sports and you're watching wrestling, and you got other stuff going on. It's just been crazy. I thought in January I'd be able to get to more things, and I haven't been able to get to it. I still have more, and still have more of my favorite shows that I like coming back. So yeah, so I'm kind of behind on my TV watching. So that's why I thought putting this segment tonight would be beneficial because if I don't have much to say or anything to say, which I just gave you Gotham, that's the only thing I can really give you all, um, then I can throw it to Mike and see if he, by some chance, which he might not have either, but if he, by some chance, has been able to catch more TV of late, has any recommendations or highlights that he'd like to give. So I know he's probably not here right now. He had to step off for a minute, so let's stall until he comes back. When he does, I'll throw to him and see if he has anything he wants to contribute. If he doesn't, then we're done for the night. If he does, then we'll let him have his um, say and go from there. Because like I said, I just don't. it's hard. You know, you're trying to cover look at all the sports stuff, and um, you
If you're
know,
if you're stalling by just radio silence, it's not really working out very
I
well.
I was installing with radio silence.
You certainly tried.
No. Well, basically, I don't know if you heard my explanation, but the TV highlights segment's taking a nosedive because I haven't been able to get to really anything.
Hmm.
So I kind of threw it out there tonight in hopes that maybe you got to something that got to far more than I did. And you have anything you'd like to bring up as far as any TV highlights go. So if you have any, please offer them up.
Sure. So, yes, particularly the first show that I'm going to mention is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This season has been amazing on NBC so far. You kind of highlighted this one. You highlighted Jake and Gina's relationship, and it kind of sets up the fact that Gina's actor, Chelsea Peretti, is kind of not going to be a series regular anymore. So you set up Gina to kind of move forward that way. So she's going to be off the show, and the Nine-Nine's going to miss her, but it is what it is. But it was a funny episode, out of several very good plots. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like a comedic highlight. It is fantastic. The Masked Singer on Fox.
Hmm.
Uh, it's one of the more interesting reality shows. It really is. In that, um, it, see, I guess the best way of putting it is I was interested in the idea when I heard about it and when I saw it a little bit a little bit of clips that from I think it was like in Japan or China or something. So I think the concept does work here, and I think specifically it does work here. It's just that sometimes it's predictable.
Mm.
Sometimes it's predictable. We know who the peacock is, and it didn't help that the peacock's sister revealed it on air one time accidentally. I'm not going to spoil it here. And sometimes people get the voting wrong. Sometimes the audience gets the voting wrong. Some of these individuals do struggle at times singing. So it's and they're the ones that are kind of voted through the next week. I'm not sure why. So the last episode I did see was um where the deer was voted off. That was Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw sang a Florida Georgia Line song and got eliminated. I don't know. I'm betting on the monster and the peacock to kind of go far. The monster is somebody who you didn't think could sing, but he very much can sing. So
Hmm.
I know who the monster is, but I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. Sorry. But the Mass Singer's really good. The judges are generally fine, but they have to play it stupid, except for Jenny McCarthy. Jenny McCarthy is kind of like, eh. But the judges have to play it more stupid than usual, which is kind of weird. But hey, it's what it is. But the Mass Singer and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, those are the two shows that I've been mostly focused on. Honestly, those are the only shows I really had time. I'm kind of slowly catching up with Lethal Weapon here, and I'm lucky to get an episode every 2 weeks at this point. I'm not super motivated to watch it, but when I do watch it, it is entertaining still. Um, Other than that, I'm trying to catch up with my Murdoch mysteries, but for that I have to order the season because I'm not paying for the Acorn TV just yet.
Hmm.
Also, I would normally say Doctor Who, but I haven't watched the new season yet, so I can't speak about it because I don't know. Um, and I would talk about the DC shows, but honestly, I'm just waiting for them to be done so they show up on Netflix. And honestly, I might watch Flash, but I'm only definitely watching Legends when it comes on. When it comes down to it, it's just Legends of Tomorrow, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like I said, it's been crazy, so it's been kind of hard. But at least you had something to offer. So see, people moving this to Tuesday was a good idea. Because I only had like one show, so
Brooklyn
uh,
Nine-Nine, best show.
so yeah, it's another thing I've been trying to get to. Um, okay, so there you go. I gave you see we threw some TV highlights out there, so better than nothing. Um, so but that is it for tonight. Everything else will leave for Thursday. So again, just because the show is over does not mean you have to stop interacting, contributing to our show. Continue to have your voice heard. Send us your questions about the show. Discussing on the show, topic ideas, or breaking news items related to sports, entertainment, or wrestling you want us to cover. Again, reactions, comments, opinions on things we talked about on the show. Thursday is the deadline for the Film Award winning ballots. They're due at 9 o'clock Eastern Time Thursday. Also, any live award uh, nominee submissions are also due at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Thursday, so please keep that in mind. Remember, submissions for the awards can only be done by email only. But if you have any questions about the awards, you can do it by email, Facebook, or Twitter. So please keep that in mind. Remember, the email for the show is itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And you can also find us on Facebook. Just search in the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page so you can stay updated on what's coming up with the show and interact with us and all of that important stuff. Again, follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter so you can keep up to date with the show and interact with us and know everything that's up and be able to engage with us and give us your feedback directly and all that stuff. There are two ways to keep with the show and look back at classic episodes. Just you can either stream us anytime on YouTube. Just search in the Spotlight 411, and when you do, you'll be taken to our show page on YouTube. You'll find every episode ever produced for YouTube. That's mid-October 2015, all up to tonight's current episodes. The episodes available for you to stream anytime you want. So make sure you head over to YouTube, search in the Spotlight 411, and you'll be able to stream those episodes. If streaming is not your thing, maybe prefer to listen to us on the go, or just don't like seeing us on screen. So again, just prefer to listen to us. If you're interested in older episodes of the show as well, if any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Search in the Spotlight 411. And when you do, you'll be taken to our show pages on both sites, where you'll have access to every episode we produced in the 8 years we've been doing the show. So all of our episodes from our original Blog Talk Radio run, from our Talk Show run, all episodes from our YouTube run from mid-October 2015 right up to tonight's current episode. All our episodes from YouTube are transferred to audio form for your convenience. Every episode we've ever done, going way back to our first episode in October 2010, available for you in audio format for you to listen to at your convenience. Again, all episodes listed from the most recent, that being tonight's, all the way back to the oldest in October 2010. All episodes available for you to listen to anytime you want. Again, if you missed a part of an episode, check out an episode again. If you're a long-time fan and wants to check out an episode from way back when again, or a new fan and wants to check out an episode like that for the first time, or you're just keeping up with episodes, any of that applies to you. Check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411, Google Plus YouTube, Podbean and iTunes, Google Plus YouTube, Podbean and iTunes. Your ways to keep with the show and look back at classic episodes. Search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411. And remember, social media, people keep asking me why I keep pushing it, because it's important. Because, if we get enough people interact with us, we'll be more active on it. And, it's also the only way we can let you all know what's going on with the show and tell you important postponements, delays, all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you do that. That's why I push it. So, because people keep asking, I just got another email about it. That's why I brought it up. Like, why do you keep pushing that? Because, that's the best way to reach people. And, that's probably the best way to make our show even better than it is. So, but yeah, that's why we do it. All right, I want to give a shout out to Mike. Thank you for being here, Mike.
Sure. Two things. A, never say the word shout out again.
Shout out.
Seriously, don't. It just makes you look whiter than you are. And number two, Happy Kingdom Hearts 3 Day to you.
Oh, it's like a holiday or something.
It is a holiday.
It's like every time a Christopher Nolan movie is released.
Yes, only in which case it won't take you 13 years to get the next part.
It's true. Um, it's funny because I say shout out every time you're not on the show, so you know. Um, anyway, I want to thank myself for another great show, pat myself on the back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching, listening to this later in archive, thank you to you as well. That is it for tonight. Our next show will be Thursday, this Thursday, January the 31st, the last day of January. Crazy, it went by fast for once. So yeah, this Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Hopefully, remember that is the deadline for the film award winning ballots. They're doing 9 o'clock Eastern time Thursday, as well as the live award nominee submissions. They are also due at 9 o'clock Eastern time this Thursday. Also, please give me your feedback on the whether you think we should move the awards from next Thursday to the following Tuesday. So I know ahead of time, so I can give that announcement on Thursday. Please give me your feedback on that. Also on Thursday, we'll give our official Super Bowl preview. We'll discuss the game, go into all that. We'll do some college basketball highlights, box office, being any other big sports or entertainment restaurant stuff we have to do. We will do on Thursday that we again, anything that breaks, late breaking news or anything, we'll talk about it on Thursday. So that's coming up Thursday, and then next week right now, as it stands, the film awards will be next Thursday. Tuesday will be everything else. Box office beat, TV highlights, any big wrestling stuff, anything important from sports, Super Bowl wrap up, NFL season wrap up, all of that will be on Tuesday as of right now, unless something drastically changes. So that's what's coming up next week as we start February. So, all right, that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your night, a great Wednesday, and a great Thursday. We'll see you back here for our next show this Thursday night, January the 31st, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Until then, have a good night, everybody.